to me and my uncle.
NFL Weekly Rundown, Week 13. Danny, welcome to another show. Here we go again. Boy, you probably weren't as distraught by the Bears-Vikings game as I was.
It was a good game.
I could say that. It was a good game. What were your impressions? What were your feelings on that game?
Well, when it was overtime and they had the ball, they just didn't play good.
I know, and I thought they had all the momentum. They had just scored 11 points in like the last 2 minutes of the game.
How
Just
about
to
score
tie it.
another point?
I know, and they really needed a touchdown because a touchdown would have ended it in overtime. If the Bears had just kicked a field goal, then the Vikings would have gotten the ball back.
But why did the Vikings kick a field goal with 2 minutes left and they just ended the game?
Well, the rule in overtime is the first team that gets the ball, so the Bears in that situation, they get the chance to score first.
Oh.
If they score a touchdown, it would have been over. If they kicked a field goal, then the Vikings would have gotten a chance to match them, to score.
But it's not the same for the other team?
As soon as the Bears punted the ball away, next score won. Whether it was a safety, a field goal, or a touchdown by either team, whoever scored the next points, once the Bears punted, it was over.
Oh.
So that's how it works in overtime in the regular season. Let's see. Did you catch that San Francisco Green Bay game at 3 o'clock? That one
I
stunk.
had to watch that.
That was such a blowout. What about the Philly Rams game at night? Did you see that one on Sunday night?
A little, but not a lot.
Yeah, the Eagles. We'll talk about that. But whoa, Saquon Barkley. Holy cow.
Did he have another unbelievable game?
Huge. We'll get to that. And then I don't know if you saw the Harbaugh brothers play in the Monday night game. Or they didn't. They coached. They didn't play. Chargers Ravens.
Yeah. I saw a little of that game.
Yeah, I think the Ravens, they were pretty much ahead the whole game, and they won by a touchdown. So, you want to hear how you did in the picks, week 12?
Sure.
Okay.
Did I do good?
Yeah, I would say 9 wins and 4 losses was pretty good, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And I got 10 wins and 3 losses.
What are the ones I didn't get right?
You missed,
4.
and anybody would have missed these. Well, except for one. Steelers lost to the Browns. What? On Thursday night? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Commanders lost to the Cowboys. What? What?
Oh yeah, I remember seeing a little of that game.
CJ Stroud and the Texans lost to the Titans.
I also remember that.
Yeah, 3 big upsets.
And what's the kind of upset, but not really?
Well, the one that I got right that you got wrong, the Seahawks beat the Cardinals 16-6. Yeah. So on the season now, 111 wins for me. Or I'm sorry, 121 wins for me.
And do I have 111?
116.
Okay.
So you're 5 behind me. Against the point spread, I'm getting a little closer. But you still have 93 wins, and I have 90. And actually, against the point spread, I have 8 more losses than you because you've picked a couple where it's kind of been a tie against the spread. So those don't count as losses or wins. Grandpa went 8-5 picking winners, so he did the worst of us. 10 wins, 9 wins, 8 wins for Grandpa. And Grandpa had another rough week against the point spread. He only went 5-8. You won 6 games against the point spread. I won 7 games. So I think we're both doing a little better than Grandpa. You're still winning against the point spread?
Well, how much wins does Grandpa have, and
well,
what about his points?
It's a little different because he didn't pick the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. So he's not going to have as many wins as us.
But how much does he have?
He has 94 wins and 37 losses picking winners, and he has 65 wins and 63 losses against the spread. So we're both doing better than him against the spread, for sure. He might be doing a little better than us picking winners. Okay, we have a full slate of games this week. 16 games, all 32 teams play. Oh, great. There we go. Before we even get a game announced. Okay. Well, hopefully she won't, wreck the set here or anything. So, we got 3 games on Thanksgiving. What is the first of them?
Bears Lions.
Oh, boy. So, that game on Sunday, the Bears got down by a lot.
They came back.
Came back strong.
Overtime.
They had a
and
chance.
They just did horrible.
Caleb Williams took that sack where it's just like, throw it. And for
He had a
9
lot of
seconds,
time.
he's just sitting there. Like, you gotta either run or throw it. You can't just sit back there for 9 seconds. The thing is, that was really the only play I thought like Caleb Williams had a bad play. Otherwise, he was awesome, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
The defense, not so awesome. The special teams, again, you get a field goal blocked, and they muffed a punt. It got punted down to DeAndre Carter, and I think it bumped into his leg or something, and then the Vikings got the ball at the 20. It's just, you can't make mistakes like that when you're as bad as the Bears, who now have 5 straight losses.
Wait, they're 5-7? Because I have 4-7.
Oh, they're 4-7. I meant 4-7. 5 straight losses. Yeah. And the Lions, wow.
They are just great this year.
They beat Indy easily, 24-6. Maybe not as many points as they've been scoring, but now they've only surrendered 6 points in each of their last 2 games. No touchdowns. And they've got 9 wins in a row. And they are 10-1 for the first time in 90. That's 90 years. 90 years it's been since the Lions were 10 wins and 1 loss. So
This might be their year.
It might be. It's kind of looking like it, don't you?
And I honestly like the Lions.
The Lions have been the 4th team in the division for so long that I feel the same way. They're not a rival like I feel like, don't like the Vikings, and you know how I feel about the Packers. Like, just can't stand them. But the Lions, it's like, they're okay. They're fine.
It's not a big rivalry to the teams in our division.
It might be if they start winning.
Yeah. But they're doing good this year.
I know. It's looking
so
like
it might be a better rivalry.
I know. I'm kind of feeling like you. It might be their year. Because we both picked them for the Super Bowl, and right now, they're looking pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on how this one's going to go?
Your other team.
Not so good? We'll talk to them. We'll talk about them in a couple games.
Yeah. Against.
A rival.
Yeah.
Real rival. And not to say the Lions aren't a real rival. They are. They're just not as big a rival.
Yeah.
Yet. Now, if they beat the Bears by 5 touchdowns on Sunday, or on Thursday, I might feel a little different. I might be like, ooh, the Lions really are making me mad.
It's 11 points.
It's big. It's big. What do you think's going to happen? And you can be bluntly honest. Just tell me what you think, because there's no sense sugarcoating it, right? We know what's coming.
The Lions have so much good players. Their head coach is good. And their defense is doing good.
Especially lately.
The Lions are just a good team this
Complete.
year.
Almost complete. Like, do they even have a hole? Do they even have a weakness?
Who was the team they lost to? The Chiefs?
Tampa Bay, week 2.
Yeah. That was a surprise.
Long time ago, though, right?
Yeah. If they won that, they would be a great team.
11-0.
Better than the Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
That I thought was going to be undefeated.
Yeah, but they lost to Buffalo.
But I didn't know they were going to play Buffalo in Buffalo. And
that's a tough game.
yeah. When you play in Buffalo, it's hard.
For sure.
Because they're crazy
They're nuts.
fans.
And they're a good team. You
yeah.
can't just have crazy fans. You got to have a pretty darn good team, too.
Yeah.
Yep. So, let's not beat around the bush any longer. Bears, Lions. what are your expectations, and what are you like? Am I gonna be crying on your couch at halftime because the game is so lopsided?
Well, I hope you're not.
I hope so too.
I'm probably not, because again, I like the Lions.
Yeah,
I'm picking the Lions, of course.
I would say of course. Yeah.
28-21.
Okay, so you're gonna have the Bears covering the spread. I don't have as much faith in the Bears covering the 11-point spread. So I'm gonna go Lions 33, Bears 20, and really I'm just hoping that they keep it within 2 possessions. I think, and I was talking to your Uncle Chris earlier today. I remember a game when I was a kid. I wasn't as young as you. I was probably a teenager. The Bears played the Lions on Thanksgiving. Barry Sanders. And I think the final score was like 56-17. I remember we were out throwing the football at halftime, and we never came back in to watch the rest of the game.
Wow.
Because it was so bad. And I fear that this could be just like that.
Hope not.
I hope not, but you know, I'm a realist here. Let's just understand what we might see. Okay, the second game on Thanksgiving, yeah.
Can you say your score?
Oh, did I? Maybe 33-20, Detroit. Yeah. So I got them covering the spread. What's the 3:30 game on Thursday?
Not a great game.
No.
Giants, Cowboys.
Yeah, the Giants' loss is now 6 in a row after they got blown out by Tampa Bay. Tommy DeVito played for them. He was not good. And now they're talking, well, DeVito didn't even fly with the rest of the team to Dallas, so he might not play. They cut Daniel Jones. Do you know who he ended up with?
Oh no.
The Vikings.
Seriously?
He's on their practice squad, though.
Oh.
So he's really only there to practice and in case Darnold gets hurt.
Wouldn't Nick Mullins go in, though?
Probably first, but I think Daniel Jones is better than Mullins. I feel like if Darnold...
Mullins just is horrible.
He is.
He's only played 2 plays in this year.
2 completions,
Well,
right?
yeah.
But you wouldn't want to see him pass a whole lot more than that. Because he makes a lot of turnovers. I think, and you as a Vikings fan might not want to hear this, like if Darnold got hurt,
I can still hear it.
if Darnold got hurt, I think they'd go straight to Daniel Jones. Like if Darnold got hurt middle of the game, Mullins would come in. But if Darnold was going to miss games, I think Daniel Jones would probably be the guy. But we'll see. We'll see.
Hope not.
Yeah. So
Because he would probably not be good with. He would probably make that 9-2 team.
maybe
Yeah.
a little worse.
But they have a really good chance of making the playoffs.
And Daniel Jones is pretty good for a backup, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want him starting too many games, but for backup, that's okay.
You know, maybe we should talk of the Vikings not making the playoffs because I want them to.
Yeah, I mean,
to win maybe their first Super Bowl.
at 9-2, they're in really good shape.
Yeah.
We can talk about that when we get to the Vikings game later on. For this particular game that stinks, Dallas, really surprising win against Washington. And they had 2 kick return touchdowns in a crazy fourth quarter. You might not have seen this. The score was 10-9 Cowboys in the fourth quarter with like 5.5 minutes left. The score ended Dallas 34, Washington 26. And it was 10-9 with just 6 minutes, 5.5 minutes left.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
a lot of points.
the fourth quarter just got nuts, just wild. So Dallas coming off a win, the Giants still reeling. Giants probably starting their 3rd quarterback of the season. What do you
Wait,
think?
who are they putting in? Not Tommy DeVito.
Drew Lock, a guy who was drafted by the Broncos. Played a little bit for Denver. I don't think he's ever played for the Giants yet, though.
Is he decent?
He's probably better than Tommy DeVito. How about I'll give him that?
So.
But he wasn't starting ahead of Daniel Jones, so the Giants at least thought he was worse than Jones.
Okay.
Yeah. So We'll probably be eating during some of this game, but what do you think will happen?
Well, I kind of keeping the score close
Mm-hmm.
because they're both bad teams.
And backup quarterbacks.
Cowboys 21, Giants 20.
Okay. I'm gonna have Dallas covering the 4-point spread. I got Dallas 27, Giants 10. Actually when I said 10, I thought DeVito was the quarterback, but I'll stay with 27-10. I think Dallas is gonna. I think they've got more talent than the Giants, and that it'll shine through. Okay, boy, it's do or die time. I feel like for my AFC Super Bowl team in the Thursday night game.
If they don't win this,
I think it's over.
Over for the Dolphins.
I think like a turkey, you can stick a fork in them.
Dolphins, Packers.
Yeah, Dolphins. Tua during their 3-game winning streak, 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception. So Tua's playing well. Green Bay, we touched on it early. They just destroyed the 49ers, 38-10. Whoa.
That's a good game for one team.
Yeah, and their quarterback, Josh Jacobs, 3 rushing touchdowns. Jordan Love has had issues
I
throwing.
think you said quarterback.
Oh, did I? I'm running back, Josh Jacobs. Sorry, 3 rushing touchdowns. They had 0 turnovers, and sometimes this year I've said Jordan Love has been throwing too many interceptions. Well, he had 0 turnovers of any kind on Sunday against the 49ers. And Green Bay forced the 49ers into 3 turnovers.
Who's that quarterback playing for the Niners?
Brandon Allen, yeah, he's not very good, and Purdy was hurt.
Get hurt?
Purdy was hurt. He got declared out on Friday before last week. So we didn't know that when we met last week. We usually on Wednesdays it's just kind of like we're not sure, and then by the time Friday gets along, the San Francisco decided Purdy was out. So luckily we both picked the Packers because
I kind of thought it was Josh Allen because one, it said Allen
Yeah.
and his number 17.
oh, it was the same number even. Yeah, funny. Yep. Nope.
Like
no trade.
Purdy
They didn't trade for
went
Josh
to
Allen.
Buffalo, and
Nope, you don't have to think about that because Josh Allen is still on the Bills. Wouldn't it be crazy if the Bills did trade Josh Allen? That'd just be like, what?
I mean, but Purdy is good.
He's pretty good. You're right. Okay, so like we say, it's make or break time for my Miami Dolphins, my Super Bowl pick from the AFC. Will they do it in Lambeau on Thursday night?
I hope so,
I do
but
too.
I don't think so.
So what do you got?
Packers 35, Dolphins 27.
Okay. This is a dumb pick, but I'm gonna stick to my convictions. I'm gonna stick with the team that I said in September was going to the Super Bowl.
I mean, I guess you have to if...
Right, I gotta believe at least one more week. And if they should fail for me, then I'll say you're done and I can pick against you the rest of the year.
If you regretted this team, who would you put in?
If I could switch around, well, Buffalo I would put in the final 2 games and probably the Ravens. I think so. I think the Chiefs are just ripe for a beating in the playoffs.
I have the Ravens and the Lions for my Super Bowl, right?
You do, correct.
Honestly, I'm kind of thinking about the Lions and the Eagles this year.
Well, remember, they're both NFC teams, though.
Yeah,
so they would get
I'm
to the final 4.
If the Lions are going to make it or the Eagles are.
It's a tough call because
Ravens.
they're both playing so well, aren't
Which
they?
the Ravens aren't doing great, but they're okay.
They're within half a game now of the Steelers in the
Honestly,
AFC North.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of thinking about the Steelers and the Ravens.
Oh.
Because the Steelers are playing good this year.
Yeah, tough loss to Cleveland. What was that all about?
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm picking the Dolphins. I'm going to stick with them. 27, Packers 23. I'm sure it's wishful thinking. I know it's an upset, but I'm going to go with it. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Okay, there's one game at 2 o'clock on Prime Video on Friday afternoon.
Raiders, Chiefs.
Yeah, Vegas, Gardner Minshew broke his collarbone.
Is that really bad?
Done for the year. Yeah, he's out for the year. So I think if he's healthy, they're going back to this clown Aiden O'Connell, who's not very good. Kansas City needed a last-second field goal to beat Bryce Young and the Panthers. Did you see that?
Mhm.
Bryce Young tied it up with like under a minute left with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But of course, Mahomes just, oh, let's pick up some yards here, some yards here, some yards here. Oh, and our backup kicker will make a field goal at the last second. Because good teams make field goals at the last second, right? You know what bad teams do? Like these guys, they get field goals blocked at the last second. That's the difference.
Against one of their biggest rivals.
Right, and this is one of the Chiefs' biggest rivals, the Raiders in the AFC West. But you've got 10 wins for one and 2 wins for the other. So it's hard to be a rivalry when you're that far apart talent-wise. You see what the spread was on this game?
Holy cow, that's a big spread.
Big one, 13.5. Do you expect the Chiefs to cover it?
No.
No, I don't either.
I'm picking Chiefs, obviously.
Yeah.
28-14.
Okay, I'm close. Oh, so you do have.
Yeah, I do.
You actually do have the Chiefs covering the spread by half a point. I'm gonna go also Raiders 14, but I'm gonna go Chiefs 24. If you remember, these teams played in Arrowhead last year. I think it was maybe Christmas Eve or something like that, Christmas Day, and the Raiders actually won. So that was a big surprise.
I probably didn't watch that game because I couldn't see Santa.
Yeah, you were probably busy if it was around Christmas.
Normally, I just read books and sit in my bed.
On Christmas
Eve.
Wow. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Just really ready for Santa to come.
Well, after I get all my presents from you, because I normally celebrate with you and
Family.
Grandpa and Uncle Chris on
Oh, right,
Christmas
your mom's
Eve.
side of the family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of our tradition, and then you can celebrate with your dad's side of the family on Christmas Day. Yeah, and
night.
somewhere in between, then Santa visits.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good time of the year. Personally, I like Thanksgiving better because I really like turkey. I like all the sides, and I like the football. So.
I don't love Thanksgiving, but I kind of do.
Okay. As far as holidays go, it's a pretty good one, don't you think? Okay, we got 2, 4, 6, 7 games on Sunday at noon, and the first one is not the best. No.
Colts, Patriots.
So the Colts defense could not get off the field against the Lions, and they were expected to lose, right?
Because you know the Lions this year.
Yeah. So 24-6. I mean, they didn't embarrass themselves as much as some teams did against the Lions this year. Drake May had an interception and lost a fumble in their blowout loss at Miami last week. So May's not playing the best. New England's defense didn't play that good against the Dolphins. But Indy didn't play great either. Granted, it was against Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in New England. You got the Colts, the road team, a field goal favorite. What do you see happening?
I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's kind of a tough one.
I'm picking the Colts though.
I am too.
28-21.
Yeah, back about 15 years ago, 10 years ago, this would have been a great game. It would have been Brady against Peyton Manning, Instead, we get Drake May against Anthony Richardson. Not exactly the same stature as 2 Hall of Famers.
And maybe Randy Moss for the Patriots.
Maybe Moss for the Patriots, maybe Marvin Harrison, who's in the Hall of Fame for the Colts as a receiver. So they were both great teams over a long period of time there when those 2 Hall of Famers were their quarterbacks.
Did the Colts ever win a Super Bowl? I know the Patriots have won a lot.
The Colts beat the Bears
Of course.
when I was 30 years old. Maybe 29, I forget. But Oh, it really hurt. It was Peyton Manning, just
Was that
Little
their
short
only one?
no, because well, only one as Indianapolis, the Baltimore Colts, before they moved to Indianapolis
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
Did they win a lot?
They won at least one in I think it was Super Bowl V,
Only.
and maybe that might be it.
Who was
might
their
be it.
quarterback?
Probably Johnny Unitas, but it might have been Earl Morrall.
Were they both pretty good?
Johnny Unitas was in the Hall of Fame, but I think he was older by Super Bowl V. So if I remember right, and this was before I was born, so I've really only seen highlights, I think Unitas and Morrall maybe both played in that game, in that Super Bowl. I think. But we'll have to check the
And who did they
internet.
play?
Dallas.
Dallas.
Now, the Baltimore Colts lost probably one of the most famous Super Bowls of all time against the Jets, Super Bowl III, when Joe Willie Namath, he said, I guarantee we're going to beat the Colts. And the Jets were like 17-point underdogs, and the Jets won.
Wow.
So that was pretty bold as a 17-point underdog to say, hey, people, I guarantee we're going to win the game.
I mean, Joe Namath is a really good quarterback.
Legend. Yep. Okay, I don't know if I said the score. Colts 20, Patriots 19. Okay. Pretty big game in the AFC North.
Wait, you're picking the Patriots?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Colts? I said Colts 20, Patriots 19.
Okay.
I'm going Colts. Yeah. Big game in the AFC North. It's another team that's up to do or die time, I feel like, in this game.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Bengals, Steelers.
Right. Pittsburgh's surprising loss at Cleveland on Thursday night. And yet they're still in first place in the AFC North. Cincinnati, okay, so this is a tough game against Pittsburgh. And they're only 4-7 right now, right? The Bengals?
Yeah.
But if they should beat Pittsburgh, their next 3 games, Dallas, Tennessee, Cleveland. Not good teams that the Bengals get. So if they somehow found a way to win against Pittsburgh,
They might have a chance to go to the playoffs.
let's say playoffs, yeah. Let's
Not
not
the
get too
Super
crazy,
Bowl
right?
Or
Because
Final Four.
I don't think so, but playoffs could be on the horizon, but they gotta win this game. I mean, this is must-win territory for the Bengals. So they're 3-point favorites at home in the jungle, which they call their stadium for some reason. I think because Bengals live in jungles. Because Bengals a tiger. So what do you think is going to happen in this AFC North tilt? Is it going to be your third favorite team getting it done?
Cincinnati's favored by 3.
Yeah, I think they're giving them the home field advantage. And I think they're thinking, well, Pittsburgh did just lose to Cleveland, right? And the Bengals, they got a pretty good offense with Joe Burrow and Chase and Higgins. So, yeah, they're giving the Bengals a lot of respect for having, 4 fewer wins than the Steelers, I think. So, sometimes these division games, the saying is you just throw out the records. You don't even have to look at the records because if they're division rivals, it could be a close game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So division games, you just never know. But we don't know. But what do you think about this one?
Sadly, I don't trust in Cincinnati for this game.
Their defense is hard to trust.
But I have a really close game.
Okay.
28-27.
Ooh, that is close. So you've got the Steelers winning and obviously covering the point spread. Okay, we're gonna be different on another one. And I know the Bengals, they shouldn't instill a lot of confidence in me because their defense is so bad.
Do you like the Bengals?
You know, I don't dislike them. I mean, Chase is a fun player. His connection with Burrow is exciting.
Has Boomer Esiason and Ickey Woods ever won a Super Bowl?
They made the Super Bowl in, I think it was Super Bowl 23, 3 years after the Bears did. They were minutes away. And Joe Montana just ripped their heart out with a late touchdown.
Wow.
And Boomer and Ickey Woods lost. So
Have they ever won one?
no, they went to one Actually, they've lost to Joe Montana twice in a Super Bowl because they lost in Super Bowl 16, I think. That wasn't Boomer Esiason, though. That was Ken Anderson.
Was Icky Woods?
Nope, he wasn't on them either. And then they lost most recently that Super Bowl against the Rams. That was just a couple years ago.
So they've never won one?
0-3. Yeah. Did I say a score in this one? I'll go Bengals 27, Steelers 20.
So are like the 4 or 5 teams that have never won a Super Bowl the Bengals, the Lions, the Vikings, and
Think
the
missed
Buffalo.
field goal. Yep, Buffalo. I mean, they're
And Miami.
Miami's won Super Bowls before. I think
So-
two. I think.
Is that 4?
Well, you got the Texans, the Jaguars. They've never won. The Titans have never won. The Chargers have never won. The
Raiders.
have. The Cardinals never have. Panthers never have.
Of course. So that's
Falcons
10,
never have. So
11.
that's off the top of my head. That's how many? Well, there's a little history lesson for you with the Super Bowl.
I don't know.
How about the next game? This is kind of an interesting game here between one AFC and one NFC teams.
Chargers, Falcons.
Yeah, the Chargers lost against Baltimore on Monday night. Drops them to the number 6 seed in the AFC playoff hunt. But they'd still be in if the season ended today.
Yeah.
As for the Falcons, they're coming off a bye week. They've got a 1-game lead over the Buccaneers in the NFC South. But really, because they swept the Buccaneers in the season, they beat them both times, the Falcons kind of have a 2-game lead over the Buccaneers for the division lead. So I show Chargers favored by 2.5 points.
I have Chargers 1.5.
1.5? Okay, I must have printed that a little earlier in the week. So I'll change mine to 1.5 so that we're going off the same thing here.
Or
Okay.
should it? Well,
It's good. We're good. I'll change it to 1.5. It still works for my pick. So, do you have the Chargers traveling to the Southeast United States and taking down the Atlanta Falcons, or do you have Kirk Cousins getting a win?
I have the Chargers 28, Falcons 21.
Okay, you got the Chargers covering the 1.5 point spread. I'm going to take the Falcons to cover the spread, but I'm going to take the Chargers to win the game, meaning I've got a 1-point win for the Chargers, 21-20.
Okay.
So could be a fun game on Sunday. Here is one team that's doing well and one team that has been a joke.
Yeah.
Just a joke.
Seattle Seahawks, New York Jets.
Yeah, the Seahawks, 6 wins, 5 losses, but that's good enough to be tied for first in the NFC West. And really, because they beat the team they're tied with, the Cardinals, they can say they're in first place. The Jets, they are now 4 wins out of even the last wild card spot in the AFC with 6 games to play. 4 wins back. They're done. You know, let's just say it like it is. Rodgers is washed up, and they're a joke, which is really cool. So, Seahawks 2.5 point favorites even on the road in New York. I don't know how I feel about that, but what do you see happening?
I'm picking Seattle
I am too. I've given up on the Jets.
27-20.
Okay. I'm going to also have the Seahawks covering the point spread. I'll say Seattle 20, New York Jets 16. 3 more games at noon. Here's one between AFC South teams. Neither has won a Super Bowl before.
Texans Jags.
Yeah, the Texans, another team with a disappointing loss on Sunday to Tennessee in Houston. But even after that loss, they still have a 2-game lead over the Colts in their division. And kind of like I said with Atlanta and Tampa, The Houston lead is really kind of like 3 games because they won both games against the Colts. So they swept the Colts and they have a 2-game lead in the division. Jacksonville is tied with the Giants and Raiders for the worst record in the NFL with just 2 wins and I think 9 losses.
What hit the
It's Jags, Giants, and Raiders are all 2-9.
Wow.
Yeah, ugly. I think the Jags might be getting Trevor Lawrence back, so
Okay.
it could be a boost. I got Texans favored by 5. What do you see unfolding in Houston or in Jacksonville? In Jacksonville, I'm sorry.
I'm picking Houston.
Yep, me too.
27 to 20.
Okay, I'm gonna take the Jags to cover the point spread. I'll say Texans 24 and Jaguars 21. Okay, here's a game that I know you care about, and it's a pretty interesting game, I would say.
Cardinals going to Minnesota
Yep,
to play the Vikings.
take on the purple. Arizona, they're a tough team to figure out. One week they'll beat a good team, the next week they'll lose to a bad team. I wouldn't say Seattle's a bad team, but Arizona played pretty poorly against them. They only scored 6 points. You're not going to win a lot of games with just 6 points.
Yeah.
So now the Cardinals, here, this is kind of a weird thing with the schedule. They played Seattle last week, they play the Vikings this week, and they'll play Seattle again next week. So the
Wow.
Vikings are sandwiched right between 2 games against the Seahawks. For the Vikings, they nearly blew that lead late against the Bears.
Yeah.
And it would have been a really bad loss had they blown that big of a lead and then lost in overtime. But it didn't happen. They got a win. And you know what happens? Good teams win close games. I think the coach for the Vikings, O'Connell, he's been the coach for about 2.5 years. When the game is decided by only 1 score, so like less than 8 points, O'Connell's got 23 wins in 2.5 years. The Bears coach, in the same time, 5 wins. He's only got 5 wins in 1-score games. O'Connell, 23 wins. That tells me O'Connell, good coach. Eberflus, no, not good coach. So the Vikings have themselves a good coach. They have themselves a new practice squad quarterback in Danny Dimes. I think this is going to be a nail biter. What do you think?
I'm picking Vikings in Minnesota. I have a close game.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings 31, Cardinals 30.
I've got a 1-point game also. At first I didn't write down a winner. I was like, you got to think about this a little bit. I thought about picking the Cardinals, but I'm not going to do it. I just think the Vikings have some mojo. They're just winning games. They find ways to win. I'll say Vikings 24, Cardinals 23.
Here's
Yeah.
yeah.
Not great.
Commanders, Titans.
Last of the noon games. Will Levis actually played better than CJ Stroud on Sunday.
Yep, surprisingly.
And the Titans got a surprising win at Houston. And their coach today, I forget the exact quote, but I read it on social media. He said, "We're not dead yet." Now they're 3-8, right?
Yeah.
So they're pretty close to dead. But what's the Texans' record? Isn't it just 6-5? Are the Texans 6-5?
Texans are 7-5.
7-5? Okay. So I mean, they can say we're not dead yet. They're pretty close to dead. 3-8. I mean, you could not lose another game if you were the Titans. Washington, Jaden Daniels started off pretty slowly against Dallas, and then he made some huge plays. And what happened was they scored a ridiculous touchdown that was like 80 yards to Terry McLaurin to get within 1 point late in the 4th quarter. And then their kicker missed the extra point. And then they tried an onside kick, and the Cowboys returned it for a touchdown. So they lost by 8. Well, Washington, not surprisingly, is a 5.5-point favorite in this game. What do you see happening in the nation's capital?
I'm picking Commanders because they're just a better team.
I think so. I think so too.
I'm picking Commanders again, 27-14.
Oh, I'm close to you. I'm going to say Commanders 27, but Titans 20. Okay, 3 games at 3 o'clock. I would say 2 of them are kind of duds, and one of them is the game of the week. We got to talk about the duds first.
Buccaneers, Panthers.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield leads the NFC in touchdown passes. But they had 4 rushing touchdowns as a team against the Giants on Sunday. So it's like Mayfield, up until last week, was really doing it through the air. And then last week, the Bucs showed that they can actually run the ball. Carolina, like I said when we were talking about the Chiefs, Bryce Young led the game-tying drive near the end of the game, but you just can't give Mahomes any time to pull it out because he will every time.
It's just amazing how one of the worst teams this year almost won to one of the best teams.
You know what the saying is? They say any given Sunday. You just don't know. You just, that's why they play the game, right? Because you could say, well, look, this is a huge point spread, and it's just not going to go the way of the Panthers. But they battled the Chiefs down to the wire, and it just goes to show you just can't take anything for granted. It's very rare in the NFL where a team can just show up, expect to win, and get it. They have to, the other team's getting paid, the other team is trying. So you gotta play your best. And Carolina, I think, did give their best against the Chiefs. It just wasn't good enough.
Yep.
So this game, I gotta show Tampa Bay favored by 6.
Yeah, 6.
So will they cover that 6-point spread, or do you think the Panthers are gonna stay feisty and keep it close?
I have a pretty close game.
I kind of do too.
I'm picking Buccaneers though. 28-20.
Oh, I'm close again. I think we've had a couple scores here where we have one of the same scores, but not both. I'm going to go Tampa Bay 28 also, but the Panthers 23. Okay, another not good NFC game, but it's a game we will talk about briefly.
Rams travel to New Orleans to play the Saints.
Yeah. The Rams showed holes on Sunday night against the Eagles. They have holes on offense. They were sacked. Stafford was sacked 5 times. That's too many. And they showed holes on defense. The Eagles as a team ran for 300 yards against the Rams defense. That's awful run defense. So the Rams kind of scare me going forward. I know the Eagles are a good team, but that's not good what they did on Sunday night.
This is kind of a do or die game.
For both teams, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, the Saints are 4-7, right?
Yeah.
Only 2 games behind Atlanta, though, in their division. So this is kind of a big game for the Saints. Big game for both teams. New Orleans has wins over the Falcons and Browns since they fired their coach. So they haven't lost yet with this interim coach. Rams are 3-point favorites even in the Superdome in New Orleans. Do you see an upset, or do you see the Rams winning in the Big Easy, which is a nickname for New Orleans?
I'm picking the Rams.
Picking it safe, okay.
27-20.
Yeah, I think that game against the Eagles just showed that the Rams have some deficiencies. And I kind of trust the Saints more than the Rams. There's Quinn. So I'm going to take our third game different here this week, I think. I'm going to say Saints 27 and LA Rams 24. Here, to me, by far, game of the week. No questions asked.
Oh, well, yeah. Eagles go to Baltimore to play the Ravens.
Yeah. So Philly, Saquon Barkley. Another great game. And this one was like top 10 all-time great, I feel like. He had 255 yards rushing. He had another 47 receiving. So he had a total of 302 rushing and receiving yards against the Rams. You okay? Down the wrong tube?
Yeah.
Good pretzels. Yeah, those pretzels are good. You just don't want to inhale them. Uh-oh.
Okay, I think
You're
I'm
good. You're good. Erie, you want this? Okay. Who's Baltimore? Baltimore's win against the Chargers puts the Ravens just half a game behind the Steelers, and the Ravens and Steelers will play on Week 16. Whoa.
Wow.
I think you'll survive. You don't need the Heimlich maneuver or anything, do you? I don't know if I can save you. You good?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think you'll recover. Well, I show the Ravens a 3-point favorite.
I don't have a.
Oh, I gave my sister. Baltimore's favored by 3.
Okay.
For some reason, that page didn't show it. I think because I printed it for you on Monday. So yeah, Baltimore -3 is what you would want to put on there. Oh, I don't know. I have a pen. Is this better? Oh, you got a purple pen. You like your purple pen better than blue. I don't understand. Purple. Boy, that thing went down the wrong tube. That cut you off. So, can you get it out? Who do you think's gonna win? Or should I read it for you?
Eagles 28-27.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you could choke that out. I'm gonna go So you picked the Eagles?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm picking Ravens. I'm gonna say 31-24. So I trust your Super Bowl team to get the win. You tell me if you need me to announce who's playing in the Sunday night game. Just nod and I'll take over.
49ers, Buffalo Bills.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit while you recover. San Francisco is in last place in the NFC West. Can you believe it? 5-6. Are they done after losing to the Packers? Because I know Purdy didn't play, but man, 38-10, even with a backup quarterback, that's a pretty awful effort. Buffalo now has a 4-game lead over the Dolphins in the AFC East, and it's kind of like 5 games because they have swept the Dolphins. So the Bills are gonna win the AFC East. They're going to. This game is huge for the 49ers. But I don't know if they've got enough to take on the Bills and Bills Mafia.
Okay.
How do you feel? I know you feel bad because you're coughing, but how do you feel about this game?
I'm picking the Bills 28-20.
Should I just do this to try to get it out? 28-20 Bills. Okay, so you've got the Bills covering the spread. I've got the Bills covering the spread, and I think it's going to be a few more points. I'm going to go Bills 31, San Francisco 17, and I'll wave to Emmeline that there's only one more game left if she sees me. She's staring at the TV. Oh, well. Okay, what is the Monday night battle?
Browns, Broncos.
Okay, Cleveland, their season is likely over at 3-8. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. That's too big a hole to make the playoffs. But can you believe they have wins against Baltimore and against Pittsburgh? I mean, that's
pretty good.
2 pretty good wins. Denver, I don't know, but I think Bo Nix could be in the running for Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
Would you believe this? The Broncos have the same record now as the Commanders, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's saying, well, Jaden Daniels should be the Rookie of the Year. Bo Nix, rushing and passing, 24 touchdowns. Jaden Daniels, 17. Bo Nix has 7 more rushing and passing touchdowns than Jaden Daniels, who everybody's thinking he's going to be the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I'm either thinking Jaden Daniels or Nix.
I think Bo Nix has a chance to win the Rookie of the Year, which is wild to think about how he started this season. He's really getting better.
My Uncle Tim says Bo Nix is the fix.
Is he? Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to hear what he says about them when we see him tomorrow at Thanksgiving dinner.
Yep.
I think they're showing up for dessert, actually. But it'll be good to see him and see what he thinks about Bo Nix and the Broncos.
Yeah.
Because they're a surprise team here, sitting in the 7th seed in the playoffs. Do you think they're going to get a win against Cleveland on Monday Night Football?
I think I have to say yes.
Yeah, I do too.
I have the Broncos 27-14.
Okay, I'm going to have Cleveland covering the point spread, but I'll take Denver 24, and I'll take Browns 20. Okay, well, you battled through about the last 3 picks after that pretzel went down your lungs. So I'm happy that I didn't have to, call for help, because I don't know what I would have done if you needed, the Heimlich maneuver or something. Are you operating the music, or are you just operating the camera? You can just operate the camera.
Yeah.
We don't expect the music from you. So we should do this, Danny? And maybe Emily can sing me and my uncle for us, or she won't.
Did you just pause it?
There you go. There you go. Went right down. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, right? You want to wish our followers happy Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I guess.
Happy Turkey Day, people. We'll see you next week. Have a great holiday weekend.